Jay Thomas.
Would you mind repeating that, Jay?
This is the Jay Thomas Show. Howard 101.
A guy that I met on my afternoon show, which is at Sirius XM 104 every day from 3 until 6 o'clock Eastern Time. It's on this afternoon, too, and then only on Friday mornings do I get to come into the Golden Studio Tower at Howard 101. NFL agent and sports attorney John M. Phillips. Welcome back, John. We didn't have time to finish our conversation, so I thought I'd bring you on this show. Okay.
Thanks. Good morning, Jay. How are you?
No, I didn't know this before. You also have a radio show in Jacksonville.
I do. It's Courts and Sports. I host it with NFL running back Rashad Jennings, and we just kind of have fun ridiculing what's going on in the NFL and worlds of sport and court where they mix. There's always a story going on.
Well, I went to Jacksonville University and was at the Big Ape there for years.
I know. I saw that in your bio. I was like, okay, you got a Jacksonville tie. I didn't like the War Eagle chant. I went to Alabama, so
War Eagle.
It is what it is.
Shuley is here with us. Our the weatherman is here.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Terrell Owens is being sued by at least, is it 4 women are suing him for child support of $50,000?
He's got four baby mamas, $50,000 a month, $20,000 to one child, $13,400 to another. It breaks down. But
you know the saying, "Mo money, no condoms."
Yeah,
that's right.
Now you represent, and you told me the other day that you do represent ball players, but you don't have a multi-million dollar contract guy. Yours are in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then you said, you were the one that gave me the stat, almost 80% of NFL players are bankrupt within 4 years of their retirement.
78% according to Sports Illustrated. So it's not some, Yahoo stat. It's Sports Illustrated spent years on it. 78%, 3.5 years after their career's done, they're bankrupt or broke.
When you go into, I don't know if you do it or somebody does it, and they show that stat up on a board, and they have all these rookies there that have made, making whatever amount of money they're making, it doesn't scare them. It doesn't make them. This has been going on for years, apparently. I mean, is there anything you can say to these kids coming into the NFL that would stop this?
They all think it's not going to happen to them, and they're going to do it differently, and that the money's going to last. It's the invincible mindset of an NFL athlete, physically, mentally, financially, everything. But when you got guys like Mark Brunell going bankrupt and bankruptcy
Mark Brunell seemed like such a sensible guy.
He did, and he overinvested in a bunch of Whataburger franchises and made some bad decisions. And it got to the point that the judge told him he'd have to sell all of his rings, or he could buy them back. And Warren Sapp had listed as his assets when he went bankrupt 240 pair of Reebok shoe or Nike shoes, Air Jordans. When that's your
right.
Asset,
That's the most ridiculous asset I've ever seen.
Yeah.
We're over 2,000 pair of shoes. What is the value of a pair of Air Jordans? Do you know what used?
There's a collector's market. I don't know if any of your people know, but I don't know.
I don't know either. Shuley, would you buy a collector pair of Air Jordans?
No, not at all. I have, and you hear people getting stabbed and shot over them. I mean,
yeah,
he's definitely going to get some money for it. I mean, there's there's someone out there that's dying to go bankrupt buying stupid shit like he did.
Well, but can you see Warren Sapp putting them on eBay so that he can sell his Air Jordan so he can pay his power bill? I mean, that's how ridiculous it's got.
Well, how about this story about LT's ring being auctioned off, and then they were saying that it was LT's son who auctioned it off, and LT had no knowledge of this. You know anything about that?
Not firsthand. I've seen some of the stuff just as well on social media with maybe Sheen bought it. It's a pretty crazy story. I haven't
you
seen
mean Charlie Sheen bought Lawrence Taylor's Super Bowl ring? God forbid. So, well, at least somebody really secure, has possession of it.
I can't wait till he loses that in a porn star's vagina.
So John Phillips, you advise your players and stuff, and you now. What about the NBA and the and baseball and the NHL? Do you have the same bankruptcy rate?
It's similar. The difference in the NFL is the lifespan's about 3.4 years, so it's shorter, and the money's not guaranteed. So, except for the guys drafted in the first, maybe second round, if they get injured or they just get cut, they're not good enough, and the new young stud is, they don't make any more money, and so. That's part of the problem. And then you've got 2,000 guys splitting up endorsements, and companies like Nike aren't even paying them in cash anymore. They're paying them in shoes because these guys will take deals where they'll get a $500,000 Nike card where they can buy Nike swag but no cash. Well, that's not a liquid asset.
So when you make a deal with Nike,
not a smart business move either.
They give you shoes, and it's not a cash deal. And you're buying $200.
Well, you know why they do that, Jay? Because they can. Because there are people taking that deal.
I guess, yeah. You know, when I would do TV shows, they would give you a bunch of Nike stuff or whatever, and for your whole family. And I mean this: you would bring your wife and kids with you or friends into this store for the swag, and it was like it was made of gold, right? Mm-hmm. And you're getting shoes and sweaters and crap and everything else. And I guess they gave me an allowance of maybe $5,000 or something like that. Same thing when I worked for Sony. They would let me have Sony televisions and, whatever, all this stuff. And you're right, but we were paying, over top dollar for that stuff, right? I wish I had the money right now. The TV, I threw away after 3 years. And the shoes, I don't know where the shoes. Where are the shoes? Nothing. Where none of that.
Are you guys familiar with the movie Broke that it's coming out this year? It's a documentary about this very situation.
John, are you a member of that documentary, Broke, about the athletes?
I've not. I've done some, but not. I haven't even heard of that one.
Oh, yeah, it just debuted at Tribeca.
Excuse me, Dr. John.
Yes.
Do you think the Yankees are going to be sold?
What?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't have to answer him. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Think
they're putting them up for sale, yeah.
They are?
Yes.
Because the Dodgers got so much, they think they got like $3 billion for them.
Come on.
True.
Yep.
Wow. Now, John, here's the thing. You're talking about it. You've got these guys and everything else, and it doesn't look like it's gonna stop. And the other thing is these kids are coming from these crummy neighborhoods. And I was saying this about the people that win the lottery. Their relatives and their friends put pressure on them to give them money, and if they don't, they're gonna lose their little home base, right?
Right, and it starts earlier than that when you've got these players in 7-on-7 as early as 12 and 13, all the way up through high school and college, where they can't take money from the institution, or they're not supposed to, or the boosters, and so they, that family member helps them get by or finds them a source of money, and it's insulated through that family member. I've had a school, major SEC school pastor, chaplain, come up to me and ask me to give him money so that he can distribute to players. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So that's how it works. So that's how Drew Rosenhaus gets his clients.
Now, wait a minute. You just mentioned Drew Rosenhaus, who was a major agent, and you just threw his name out there like he's I guess, on the edge of illegality, paying people off?
Oh, absolutely.
Why? Aren't you afraid he's going to sue you?
There's truth to the defamation is the defense, and Drew has for years. I mean, he was implicated in the North Carolina stuff with Marvin Austin and all that. Drew has for years been able to insulate, and it happens to all major agents. There's a runner, and the NFLPA is trying to change the way it's done. But you have somebody insulated that's around college campuses that's giving these guys, taking care of these guys. And I mean, I've got specific knowledge that I'm not worried about a defamation suit.
Now, the other thing they do is you go to a car dealer and you are a Cam Newton. The car dealer will let you have a brand new car, and you will pay for it at a later date. Is that still legal?
No, that's absolutely positively prohibited by the NCAA and state law.
Even though, like, they haven't made any money yet, but the car dealer says, I'll write you a loan or I'll give it to your dad or whatever, and I know you guys are good for it in 4 or 5 years.
You can't do it, and it's too bad, because if I were a regular college student and I had that kind of deal coming from IBM, I'm still in school, but I'm Bill Gates, and everybody knows that I'm about to get a job with Apple, or the next Bill Gates. I'm about to get a job with Apple paying me $500,000. I could go out on that future income and get a loan. And, college players cannot, based upon that NFL potential. And it's kind of BS.
Doctor, the average lifespan in my apartment building is also 3.4 years.
Right.
Also,
yes.
How do you think the Baltimore Colts and Johnny U will do this year?
All right, you don't have to answer that, John. John Phillips.
I'm a personal injury attorney as well, and I may take that case if the average lifespan is 3.4 years.
Courts and sportsradio.com. Now, let me ask you a question. How many guys do you think are going to be going for Peyton Manning's neck?
All of them.
I know that. I feel the same way. They're going to all go for his fucking neck.
It is a bad injury and a bad surgery he went through. I've had many, like I said, personal injury client go through that, and they don't go back to work. He's going back to the NFL, and I obviously wish him the best, but he is one good whiplash away from bad stuff.
I'm surprised at his dad, to be honest. I really am. That his dad didn't kind of give him advice not to do that.
I am too. The family's a good family. I mean, him probably from New Orleans.
Yeah.
But the family's a solid family. They don't need the money. They don't need the publicity. Peyton's smart enough. He was so good on Saturday Night Live. He could have a career in comedy. But it's these guys have this invincible mindset, like we were talking about, no matter what it is, and
right.
and it's just not true. The brain injuries, there's just so many different things. That's why I have a whole radio show about it. That the perils of an NFL athlete are just, there's mind traps out there, all over the place.
Now, the final thing about Terrell Owens, or Terrell, I don't know how the fuck he says his name, but the thing is if you don't have the money and the women are demanding $50,000 a month, you're an attorney also. Can you say, hey, I don't have the money, and even though you said I had to pay the $50,000, my money's all gone? Do they put him in jail? What happens?
They can put him in jail. I had a guy come up to me few years ago that didn't change his child support agreement after he got out, and obviously the pension is a lot smaller than the salary,
right.
And he didn't modify it, and he spent time in jail. And they can throw you in jail, and this is federal prison. They don't screw around. They don't need. They've got subpoena power anywhere they want it, and so they can find out. They can find where the skeleton's buried, where you have your Air Jordans and everything else, and go after them and get them.
Wow. All right. Well, thank you, John Phillips. Go to courtandsportsradio.com.
Before you leave, what do you think about the Jets? Do you think the Jets are going to be in the Super Bowl next year, or what?
They will
if they buy a ticket.
They will if they follow me on Twitter at Athletics Lawyer.
That's right.
Thank you,
sorry,
John.
I'm a Saints fan, and people keep asking me, what's going to... I think the Saints walk into the Super Bowl. Okay?
Oof.
Yeah.
They're facing an uphill battle with all that.
Go to Las Vegas and put the money down. They're going to the Super Bowl.
Since you guys are asking about your teams, let me ask about my team. I'm a big Steelers fan. Can we get through this season without anyone being raped?
Is Ben still on the team? That's the question.
Yeah, I think he is.
Okay, then no. The answer is no.
All right.
Well, he's happily married, and he believes in Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior now.
And now helmets on motorcycles. Amazing.
That's right.
Amazing how people evolve.
John Phillips, courtandsportsradio.com. Many of you know him from Jacksonville, Florida. And if you have a young man who's about to sign a deal, the Jay Thomas Show endorses John Phillips, NFL agent and sports attorney.
Right. Thank you so much, Jay.
All right. Thank you so much. Stay where you are.